All right, now that we got all that out of the way, we are joined right now by two of the three members here of Route A1A. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves. Perfect.
My name is Ron.
Sabrina.
And you guys are with Route A1A. What are you? What's the socials for? I just want to make sure we get it right. You can go ahead and plug it. We'll put it up here in the top.
Yeah, it's rootea1a.com.
Perfect.
And then on Instagram, it's rootea1a. But it's
Perfect.
spelled ROOT.
Yeah, Route A1A, which I love it because obviously the big coast over here in Brevard is the A1A that leads up to Cape Canaveral and all that. It's awesome. I mean, it's just really cool to see people using the play on words. I mean, we use play on words a lot with the Breaking Brews. It's the play on words of breaking news. And then right now our inner brews, behind the brews, which that's actually what this is. This is going to be our first ever Behind the Brews segment. We're trying it live, and where we interview people that are incremental in the behind the scenes of big things happening in the Kava community. And I mean, I thought, who else better than someone as sweet as the Route A1A team that makes Kava ice cream? And but yeah, so we're gonna do some sampling up here. We're gonna be interviewing, and we're gonna bring some people up here in a bit. But obviously, I wanted to get some of the big questions, the hard hitters for the people at home. That I actually I asked a few people from our audience and from our community for a few questions because I was like, I couldn't even think of what do I ask a company like this. I mean, it's very unique. I mean, I've never. There's one chocolate factory whenever I was a kid up in Pennsylvania called Sarris's, and like I couldn't even ask them questions. Like I don't even know what I'd ask them. So I asked the audience, I asked some people, and we have some questions for you. And our first question is obviously, when was the moment you knew that Kava ice cream was the next big snack?
So we were sitting in actually in Big Dog Kombucha one night, and we were just kind of messing around, and someone said, "Hey, would it be nice if we combined Kava with gelato?" So one of the ladies there bought in some gelato. We got some cups, and we just dumped it in the cups, and we tried it, and we were like, "We have something here." You know,
Oh, yeah.
it was good. And then you talk about the fat in ice cream potentiates the Kava.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, "Hey, we think there's a match here." So we immediately went out, and she bought a Ninja creamer, and we started experimenting with Kava and ice cream. As you know, Kava is drying, so our ice cream
Oh, yeah.
was rock hard.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, you couldn't get a spoon into it. So Sabrina got in contact with an ice cream specialist manufacturer in Orlando.
Yeah.
She took some Kava, went into Orlando, did a bunch of testing, and they
That's
got
awesome.
the recipe right. Higher milk fat to make
Yeah.
it creamier, and they got it right. And like when she brought it home, the first time I tasted it, we were like, "There's something here. This is fantastic."
I mean, I would never in a million years would have thought Kava and ice cream go together. But your products, from what I hear, I've specifically stayed away from trying it because I want the pure, true reaction here on camera with the people at home. But people say you really don't taste it that much. The flavors are way more overpowering, which is a very hard thing with Kava. I mean, ask anybody. I mean, it's hard to make it taste like anything other than dirt. And some places have kind of figured out a way, but it's still, you still can taste it. So I can't wait to see what you guys have done with it. Where did this all start? How long have you been pretty much
We are maybe 6 months old.
6 months old? Wow. That's crazy. I mean, and the fact that you guys have such big traction in the community, I mean, where can people buy this in a Kava bar scene? Like, where can they get it from?
Oh, so we are in the Berm. We're in Tides. We're in Roots in Titusville.
Yeah, that's new, right? They just
That's new.
opened.
They just opened. Surf Cap. So one of the other things that we started doing is we're actually getting our ice cream in other places other than Kava bars.
That's awesome.
And the reason we're excited about that is because it introduces people to Kava that may
In
never
a more
have,
pleasant way.
in a more pleasant way, and they may never would have heard of it or tried it. So we're in Mr. Nice Guys in downtown Melbourne,
Awesome.
Cafe Surfinista, Decine Burritos. is
Oh, I
actually-
love the kind.
They're actually
I
selling.
was
our
going to
ice-
have them for lunch.
Yeah, they're actually selling our ice cream now.
That's awesome.
Mangrove Marketplace is a new place in Cape Canaveral.
Yeah.
It's a really neat place. They've got like this ramen bar with like hundreds of ingredients. You can make your own ramen there and stuff like that. We got our ice cream in there, so we're pretty excited about getting it in places that aren't just Kava bars, because I think we're bringing in front of people who may not want into a Kava bar.
I mean, I remember my first experience with Kava, and I mean, everybody's first time is like that wow, this tastes like dirt.
Like
Yeah. And I mean, I seen you guys made a post either yesterday or today, just with like how long you've been working with Tides, and um, I've known Ty a long time, and I mean, he's been a really big part of my life in general, even outside of the Kava community. I remember one day my mom called me because me and Ty actually grew up together. Pretty much our dads would get together and play darts at my house every weekend, and so we would just spend a lot of time together when we were growing up. And one day my mom's like, she's like, hey, Ty, he opened one of them Kava bars. I'm like, Kava, but you're close, you're close. And I was like, no way, like, what are the odds? Like, a childhood friend. And I'd only been at that time, I think in the community for maybe like 2 years or so. And I didn't even realize it because I'd only stayed in Melbourne, really. I didn't know that I thought it was just a Melbourne thing. But it's awesome to see that you guys are working with not only Kava bars, but businesses that aren't Kava bars. I mean, that's all it takes is one good experience from somebody they're going somewhere and they're like, what's this Kava thing? Or especially here in Melbourne, people are like, oh, I've heard about that, but I've never tried it. And someone's like, ice cream, it can't be, it's got to taste really good. And I think that'll really warm people up to the fact of coming out to Kava bars and trying something new. I mean, that's what all New Year's are about. I mean, you guys are our first episode of the year, and you guys are also a new segment that we're trying out. So there's always time to try something new. I threw away the whole being scared to try new things because my whole life I was a picky eater, and I was always just stayed in the same lane. I never ventured out, never tried new things, and Kava really was like a big determining point for me and like growing up. I mean, growing up is trying new things, expanding your taste buds, expanding your comfortability. And this really brought me out of my shell even more than I already was. Like, I could talk to you one-on-one nonstop until I was blue in the face, and so you'd be like, shut up, please, and ask anybody. But I was very anxious about getting up on stage because both my parents were musicians, my sister's a musician. I felt like I had a lot to live up to like, if I mess this up, I feel like I'm going to dishonor my family. And obviously I wouldn't, but you know how we are in our own heads. And this community really, I mean, the fact that Nocturne Teas, without even like hesitation, whenever I offered the idea, I was like, hey, what are your thoughts about doing a podcast at the bar? They're like, okay. And like, I was like, well, do you want to do anything? They're like, just keep it cool. Like, obviously, like, don't interrupt the bar or anything like that. Like, just keep doing your thing, and you can do whatever you want for the most part. I've tried getting away with a few things, but I'm really glad with how welcoming this community is. I mean, I've been in it for 8 years now, coming up on 8 years, and I've been in it longer than pretty much most of the people in, like, at least here, and in a lot of the main community. Like, a lot of the older people, Kava was really big with a lot of the older generations than younger people, but now it seems to have flip-flopped over the last, I'd say, like, five years or so. It's really opened up, and I mean, you see Kava bars popping up everywhere. Do you guys, I guess I haven't really asked you guys this even off camera, do you guys have a brick-and-mortar location?
No.
No?
So right now we're just wholesale.
Is that something, you would be open to in, like, the future, or?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, would you guys open it as a Kava bar, or would you guys try and go, no, just straight, like, ice cream parlor?
Yeah, straight goodies. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, honestly, we need more stuff like that because, some people, I mean, a lot of people, I say there's a distinction between Kava bars and Kava lounges. Kava lounges is a place where you want to go and you could spend a couple hours. Kava bar, go grab a quick drink after work, hang out with a couple friends, like maybe one or two friends. But some people in the Kava bar industry just want to take something to go or whatever, and a lot of people would probably love more than just gas stations for quick service Kava. I mean, if you think about it, really, there's no places that are doing something like that. So that could be something you could pioneer as well.
So you just gave me another idea.
Uh-oh. So if you guys want to give them a follow, I mean, you guys supporting them supports us. We want to support each other. That's what this community is about, is supporting everybody, and just giving back to the people who, I mean, obviously they brought some flavors up here, so we're going to try a couple flavors. You can grab whichever ones you want to grab. So if you guys look, I mean, just the packaging alone is super attention-grabbing. It's very appealing. It's got, I mean, this is my favorite color. It's kind of like a teal turquoise, and it fades into the orange and yellow and green. I love it. I mean, I love the fact that it comes in almost like the Bluebell cups. Like, it brings me back to, like, childhood memories, and it looks great on camera. I mean, alrighty. So this is the banana, BULA banana. And so, I mean, it looks like ice cream. It feels like,
It's not too hard.
It might be a little hard.
No, I mean, hey, that's pretty good. I mean, this is better. I mean, if I buy a Bluebell thing, I'm like chiseling away at it. So, BULA. Wow. I mean, it tastes like I'm eating a banana. It tastes like I'm eating, those frozen chocolate covered bananas.
Yeah, the frozen.
That's
old
what it
one,
tastes.
Yep.
That's
yeah.
what it tastes like. I mean, that's really good. And I'm very picky. Like, I was really. That's one thing. So, especially with Big Dog Kombucha, I was really nervous to try their product on camera because I've had such bad experiences with kombucha where I do not like vinegar whatsoever. And most kombuchas are very
It's got that vinegary taste.
that vinegary
yeah.
taste. And I was slightly nervous because I was like, I'm worried that the Kava is going to be too overpowering. But honestly, the Kava is so faint. I mean, you really, it just tastes like I'm eating banana ice cream.
Right.
I mean, there's a banana ice cream they have at Universal because they have like the whole Minions, like the kids movie expansion. They have banana ice cream, and this tastes like $1 million company's ice cream. I mean, and I think that's what you guys have is a $1 million ice cream company idea. But man, I wish my hair wouldn't get in my mouth. That does not taste as good as this ice cream. But it's got a good consistency. It does not feel like you would imagine it to. Like, I was expecting it to be a little bit gritty, and it's smooth.
Yeah.
It's smooth, it's creamy, it's rich and flavorful. I mean,
And it actually gets better if you let it melt a little bit and gets a little softer. I
Yeah.
feel like the creaminess comes out a little bit when it's a
yeah,
little bit
I'm going to
softer.
set it off to the side because, honestly, like, this is really good. Like, I mean, whenever we were talking, you said you're probably going to be bringing out pints soon. I mean, I'm probably going to be your number one customer. But, so, you guys have a lot of flavors. What would you say your best seller flavor is at the moment?
Coconut.
Coconut?
Yeah, probably coconut.
I feel like, coconut really does fit that Kava tropical vibe. I mean, as the years have gone on, a lot of Kava bars have stepped away from, there's tens of Kava bars that are all tropical theme. That's why I think sets like Nocturne and a couple other bars in this area apart is they don't stick to the traditional. That's awesome. I'm getting like the numbing effect
getting the
now.
numbing, yeah.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. But like some businesses are stepping away and kind of going towards themes, and I think right now, so obviously tropical, the traditional Kava bars, I guess I would call them, have been around for 8 years, well, longer, like 12 years, and where they've been kind of slowly gaining mainstream. But I think themed Kava bars are going to be the next big thing that come out. Like, we have, obviously the speakeasies are really big. There's one in St. Pete, the Mad Hatter, which is themed after the live-action Alice in Wonderland, mixed with like the animated. But I mean, I could totally see, especially in the state of Florida, getting this out everywhere because it's unique. I mean, like you said, you guys had an idea. You're like, what if we did this? Put the pen to paper, actually did it. It's a great product. I mean, here's the thing is I've noticed a lot of companies, that try to do like the CBD ice cream or hemp ice cream or something like that where it doesn't look like ice cream, doesn't taste like ice cream, makes me want to throw up. And like I said, I'll try anything. I'll try anything once. But you guys honestly have gotten it down. I mean, I have no complaints. And I'm really picky. I'm super picky. But so
Yeah, we said when we did it, that was our one thing. We said we're not going to sell it if it doesn't taste good.
yeah.
And we wanted it to taste like ice cream.
Yeah. This is honestly, this brings back childhood memories of like, so there was an ice cream I used to eat at up at that chocolate place I was telling you about in Pennsylvania, Saras's, and they made all their ice cream in house, and it's just bringing me back to like memories of being a kid up there because I grew up in the middle of like Amish farmland stuff during the summers or whatnot, so there wasn't much fun stuff. Farms are not fun. Like, the animals sound cool, but somebody took care of the animals for us, and we didn't do any of the fun stuff. All we did was bale hay and sweat. And anytime we got to go into town and have ice cream and go to the chocolate store, it was a great memory. And I could see this becoming the next big hit. Especially with, the new year coming in, you guys are really going to be taking off during summer. I feel like this is going to be, I say by the time summer hits, you guys are going to double the locations, or if not. That's why we bring people on, is to bring businesses on here to give them some promotion, some free publicity, because I know how expensive my company outside of, doing what I do here is I'm a strategic advisor and consultant. I know how expensive ads get. Like, if you look around, Island Root's the only Kava bar that really has like ads and commercials and stuff like that because it's expensive. Like, it takes a lot of money to do something like that. And one thing we like to do when we travel around is go to a Kava bar, we'll shoot them a commercial for free. And because I feel like everybody should have equal, exposure. I mean, all it takes is one social media post, one commercial to get a name out there. I mean, I was just talking about it right across the street from here. We have a music store called Marion Music, and when I was a kid, they had a commercial, and it would go 7373000 Marion Music. And mind you, this commercial was from like 2002, and I still have it memorized, the whole thing, all the instruments, and commercials really make or break, especially obviously living in a more modern age. Social media makes or breaks a company. And you guys' commercials are professional. I mean, I was just looking, you guys' in your review footage is better than anything we put out so far. We saved it. Where you at? Route A1A. I mean, it's crazy how professional all your stuff is. Like, you guys have really good cameras. Like this picture with the Mr. Nice Guys. Like all this. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I've seen some businesses with some really, really bad marketing and some really bad pictures, and it really does harm. Like, they could have the best product in the world, but if you don't make it look appetizing, you don't make it appealing, it'll never sell.
You've met the mastermind of that.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting him up here soon because he's Mr. Marketing over there. But do you guys have any new flavors that you're looking at releasing here soon? I mean, I know you're going to be keeping, you said your mint around, your mint.
Chocolate chip staying, yeah.
But I mean, it's crazy to see how popular you guys are. I mean, before you guys were at Berm, like actually like physically inside the store, people would talk about you guys all the time. They're like, "Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this Kava ice cream?" And I'd be like, "No." And like they were really bad at explaining where I could possibly get it, and I was like, "Okay." And then it drifted off in the back of my mind. And then one day, you guys followed my main Instagram account, even before we'd done the podcast, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty cool." And then I saw you guys were at Tides, and ever since then, I mean, all I've wanted to do is I wanted to save a day where we could give you guys your due diligence, give you guys the platform to talk.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
And then just circling back to the flavors, we are going to have some new flavors for the spring. And I will kind of like spoil one. We're going to have a pina colada sherbet.
Ooh,
So-
I love pina colada.
We've got an orange sherbet now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people like, but we're going to have a pina colada one.
That is the one I hear the most about.
The orange
is
sherbet?
orange sherbet. I mean, Lauren was even talking about it before. She was told, once people heard that you guys were coming on here, like, "Oh, you gotta try the orange sherbet. Try the orange sherbet." And
Try it?
You want to try it?
yeah, let's try it.
Grab one. Let's go try it.
Let me clean my spoon.
And you'll be able to taste the kava a little bit more in the orange sherbet.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the milk fat, but
Yeah.
it's still very good. This is in our old packaging, but
Oh, okay.
So
So, okay, I'm going to ask you a question before I get into this, because I've always been curious about this. What is the difference between ice cream and gelato and sherbet? What is the...
well, sherbet's easy because that doesn't have dairy.
Okay, so it's a dairy-free...
It's a dairy-free. Ice cream and gelato, it has to do with the milk fat content. That one's a little harder.
That's okay.
10 minutes of milk.
That's okay. Hey, listen, like I said, I've had to chisel my fair share of ice cream. I mean, one of my clients is an ice cream store. Who knows? I mean, we could probably get you guys up in there as well.
Where?
It's near it's in Satellite Beach next to Satellite Island Route. It's called Momo's Scoops.
Oh, yeah.
But they're right next to a Kava bar, right next to Island Route. I mean, they go hand in hand. Those two businesses
Right, yeah.
go hand in hand. So this is the orange sherbet.
Orange sherbet.
Wow. I mean, honestly, you said it was gonna taste the Kava more. It wasn't until really the end there. It's like kind of like a Italian ice almost.
Yeah.
That's kind of what sherbet is. I like this. I like this a lot. I mean, it kind of tastes like a dreamsicle. I mean, it tastes like yeah. I mean, I really can't think of anything other way to describe it.
What some people do is they take the orange sherbet and they mix it with our vanilla ice cream, and they make a dreamsicle.
That's kind of like I don't know if you've seen, or I'm sure you guys, being in the ice cream, the Fat Donkey.
Yes.
They do something called zonkies where they do their soft serve and then mixed with their like Italian ice or like
Right.
kind of like a sherbet as well. But I mean, hey, I'm gonna set this off to the side because if not, I'm gonna keep on eating it. But we'll try that later. That's really good. Alex, you're gonna have to try some of this. That's really good. That's really good. Here, take the banana one real quick. Try that, because now it's a really good one. He'll come get it. He'll get it. And then, yeah, we'll give you a spoon. Well, so we're going to get Lauren up here, and we're going to switch you guys out. We're going to let her sample some things. And, I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking time. I mean, you guys are really busy. You guys are busy early in the morning. Just come out here late at night, keeping you guys up past your bedtime.
Yeah, probably.
This is
No,
what she
but
was saying.
again, we appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. I mean, I want to give everybody, equal exposure because, I mean, if people hadn't shared our content and hadn't, boosted us up, we wouldn't even have half the support we do now.
Right.
And I mean, it only gets bigger as the episodes come out. And I mean, we're going to start putting out like short form content where we clip things from the videos because those did really well. I mean, we would get thousands of views on some of our short clip content. So that's one thing we're going to be doing soon. And we're going to have so much content with this whole interview. I'm really excited to see what we can do with that. But I really appreciate you guys coming up here.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
You guys got some really great product here. I mean, seriously, I'm going to be snacking on this while Lauren gets up here and does her interview portion.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome, guys. Man, Lauren, I cannot wait for you to try some of these. I mean, seriously,
excited.
the banana and the sherbet, like, here's the thing is, again, I was really nervous because, I'm serious. Like, I waited until today to try the ice cream. I was really nervous. I wasn't going to, I was going to make a funny face. And I didn't have to. It tasted really good. So, let's see. I'm going to look at the flavors that we have so we can get you some up here while we interview. So
Okay.
we have I'm going to give you a couple, and you tell me which one you would want to try. So we have the vanilla, the coconut, the banana, the orange sherbet. That's probably the ones you would probably enjoy the most.
Okay.
Those are the ones without
do
chocolate.
The vanilla and the banana.
Okay. Yeah.
Vanilla and banana.
I'm curious to try the mint chocolate chip. Because that's what you got? All right, well, you work on that and then bring some to me whenever you're. Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself. You're part of the crew. You handle the marketing, right?
I do, yeah.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Tony Coons. I own my own business called Sandy Pineapple Marketing,
Okay.
and I met these guys probably about a month into their journey,
Yeah.
and they've gotten me hooked on Kava in a good way. My wife and I have been sober for 4 months. We haven't
Oh, wow, awesome.
drank alcohol
Congrats,
in 4 months.
congrats.
Not that we drink a lot, but I definitely feel a huge difference, and I it's because of them is the whole reason why we were able to find Kava. What's really funny is I was living in Utah, and I was telling her this, that I was friends with a bunch of Polynesians who all did Kava or drink Kava ritually with their families, once a month. But I had never been invited because it was a family thing. And once I came out here and tried Kava, I gave him a call and was like, "Hey man, when I come back, we can hang out. I'm a Kava guy now." And they're like,
Right.
"Oh, that's a family thing."
Now, talking about the fact that you guys are in a couple places, one question I had for you, being the marketing guy, is how do you sell yourselves to new clients? Imagine we are new potential clients and you want to sell us on the product. What would be how do you convince somebody, especially with it being Kava? People just believe whatever they read on the internet. We talked about that earlier. I'm sure it's kind of hard to sell it, but once somebody tries your product, I can imagine.
Yeah. So it was really hard to get in, initially into some of these places like Dakine. They took a few weeks for us to really get in there, almost a month probably. And then if you look at once they were in, Cafe Surfnista, we're like, oh, Dakine's doing it. We like Kava. We've been to Fiji and had real Kava before. Let's try putting it in here. Then, where we're going with this moving forward is, honestly, we go and I drop some off. This is kind of like my little spiel. I just
Okay.
go drop some off and play it like laid back and cool. I don't try to sell them on it. It's more of like, here, try this. Tell me how you feel, and then I'll hit you up tomorrow and we'll talk about it. And so it really is. It's selling itself. I think our social media too has been a big provider of getting people that may have not tried it before to like, oh, Dakine has it in there, so it must be okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think people
Word
do.
of mouth is really important, especially where you're at. Like, I mean, I didn't know you were in that many places. Like, that's awesome. Like, whenever they mentioned it, I was like, wow, you guys are even further than I thought. Like, I mean, that's incredible. Especially, I mean, it's 6 months to be. I mean, what you probably mentioned 6 businesses.
Yeah.
6 months. That's like a business per month. I mean, that's pretty hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it took us 6 months to even get businesses to call us back.
Yeah.
I mean, being a new show, being something, especially something that's already not super popular with the mainstream crowd of being a Kava Kratom podcast. The way I have to sell the podcast is like, well, technically it's structured like a late night show that just happens to have a few Kava Kratom content or sections. So like that's why with the this or that, we would have 2 normal questions and sandwich them around one single Kava or Kratom question, because if somebody hears something right away, they're like, oh, they said they weren't all just about Kava, and the first thing you hear is something about Kava, and then they're going to be like, oh, they lied to me, blah, blah, blah. And then that's also why at the end of the podcast, which we'll do later on, is we have the Breaking Barriers segment, is where just Lauren and I talk about our daily lives or things that's just going on around the world. What has been the hardest part for selling Kava ice cream?
I would say convincing people that Kava can be good for you in certain ways, and it like you have this kind of negative condensation about it. Like me coming from Utah, I really associated Kava with Kratom, and the way I saw Kratom was like, oh, it's that thing that they have huge signs of at smoke shops.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing I knew about Kratom, and even since I've moved here, I've like, oh wow, like it's just helping a lot of people, and I didn't realize there was such a drive here.
Oh yeah, especially in Brevard.
To
It's
stop
crazy.
drinking alcohol, and I think that that's great. Coming from Utah, it's like 70% Mormon, so only 30% of the people actually drink there. So it's not really a huge problem there, but in Florida, like, alcohol was a huge problem here, and this is becoming like, so to be honest, like, it's been kind of easy to sell the ice cream because people are in that movement.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to get away from alcohol.
Well, I mean, look right now. I mean, honestly, like every year, I feel like there's a different month where somebody tries to like come up with something cool for like, just like no alcohol or whatnot. But this year is the first time I've really noticed it. Dry January.
Yeah.
I love it. And
Yep.
what a time. Now, I mean, right now is the time where I'm not super big on the whole resolution thing, because I feel like resolutions almost, it's kind of like meant to be broken in a sense.
Kind of a joke.
But like, here's the
Yeah.
thing is it's somewhat controversial because everybody's different, Like my take on it's an unpopular opinion, is that you shouldn't set resolutions, just set goals.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing is there's such a bad connotation. I mean, if you look at it, people that go to the gym starting at the beginning of the year usually stop by February because it's just too hard. But if you set a bunch of small goals, that's how I live my life every single day.
Yeah.
Is I set a few small goals each day, and that way I'm getting multiple rushes of dopamine from completing a few small tasks. Like, obviously shoot for the stars on certain things, but obviously have some realistic, reachable goals instead of one big resolution. Like,
So I got something for you.
please.
I've been learning this from a mentor of mine. He does what's called a misogi, and it's a Japanese yearly, so that you can look back 5 years from now and say, I did this in 2025.
Yeah.
Right? And some of it can be like, I started a business, I ran a 5K, Mine is, I was a sponsored snowboarder for 12 years. And when I got here, I tried to surf, and I am absolutely awful at it. So my goal, I almost said it again. Not my goal, my misogi is to become a professional surfer.
I love
And I don't plan on ever competing, but I want to get paid somehow to surf. I want to be in the community. I want to do something this year that's going to get me paid for being on a surfboard.
Okay, have you ever seen the movie Surf's Up with like the penguins?
Yeah.
You know who you remind me of Chicken Joe.
That's awesome.
You give me Chicken Joe vibes. Like it's so funny. I was sitting here. I was like, dude. And also, okay, this is another one. This is a really deep. I don't know if a lot of people here probably have never watched this show, but you also kind of remind me of the guy from 50 Rock
50 Rock.
or 30 Rock, the
Oh,
TV
30
show.
Rock. Yeah.
I gotta see his. He was one of the producers of the show, but let me look up the cast. But Lauren, if you have any questions you'd like to ask, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
So when you came here, what made you want to do marketing for a Kava ice cream company? What did you see within that company that drove you to do the marketing for them?
That's a great question. Honestly, it was the owners, Sabrina and Boz. I really connected with them right away. I actually met Boz at a jiu-jitsu open mat, and it was a bunch of there's a bunch of Marines, and me and him kind of connected. He reached out, and I started looking into Kava because I was a little skeptical about it. I was like, I don't know if I can market something I don't know much about. And so they got me to go to Tides, I think was the first one we went to. And then we went to a couple other Kava bars, and I was like, I like this community. I was like, I can get on board with this. And then it just kind of became easy. I was telling you earlier that I really only work with companies that I truly believe in and want them to
That's exactly
prosper.
what we do here.
And it makes my job really easy.
That's great. So what do you have? Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is the guy from the show. I mean, even the glasses. I don't know if you guys
I
can see
can kind of
this.
see it.
Dude, he looks, especially with the hat and like the hair, I mean, and the glasses. But it's funny that you say that, the way that you phrase that. By the way, I want to say this real quick. I changed my mind. This mint chocolate chip ice cream you don't taste the Kava at all, and it tastes incredible. This is, right now,
I was about to
it went
ask
from
you,
vanilla to favorite. I'm going to let you have some of this. I just want a couple more bites because it's so good.
What is your favorite flavor?
Oh man, what's really funny is I don't really like coconut anything, but I love our coconut ice cream. There's just something, there's like coconut in it, like coconut flakes in it.
It's really good. You don't taste the chocolate.
And
I'll go around the chocolate.
yeah, the first time I had it, it was like, oh, I don't like coconut. You know, that's,
Oh, yeah.
It's like the little kid
Oh,
in me.
no,
that's
I
like,
hated coconut as a kid.
You already say like, oh, I don't like coconut, so you already have this like in your mind that you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, that's good.
I really liked banana as well. Like it was just very natural tasting. It wasn't like an artificial.
Oh my, yeah, it
taste.
tasted just like banana. I was saying it
Just
tastes like the
a
frozen
real-
banana
a real
popsicles you can buy.
Banana, yeah. Like almost like banana pudding. It was really good.
Well, so I mean, I'm glad to see how passionate you are because again, I've met a lot of people that are very they talk a big game, but you can tell when someone's being insincere and just I can hear in your voice how serious you take this. I
Yeah.
mean, it's respectable. I really love that you said that you only work and associate with businesses that you agree with. That's every single sponsor we have here on the show. We don't have a lot, but the few that we do, we only promote businesses that we support. That's why we had you guys on here, because even before having your product, I could just tell that you guys were doing things with the right intentions, because that's really hard. A lot of Kava bars and a lot of businesses hop into this. They see how big that this is growing, especially in Brevard, and they're like, I want to hop on this money train. And honestly, recently I've talked with a lot of businesses that are trying to open Kava bars, and they're clients that I used to have, and they're like, I see you're really big in this Kava community. Like, you can make quick buck on this stuff, and it kills me because then I have to tell them that's not what this is about, and it usually causes a lot of tension between me and them because I literally wear the Kava root on my sleeve. Like, I'm a big proponent of this stuff. I mean, it's
That's
changed my
awesome.
life. I never came really particularly from like a background of addiction like a lot of people have that are in the community, but I'm able to see the good that it's done for a lot of my friends that have struggled. I don't like to regret things I've done because it's obviously got me to where I am. But in college, I owned a frat house. Like, I pretty much influenced a lot of drinking and a lot of
Yeah, same.
partying. And I feel like I almost owe it to each of my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex right here. Alex used to. I mean, we spent all our time together in college. Marty over there, he was part of our big college group. I mean, it's crazy to see all these people have naturally just come into this community, even without my. I mean, right there, I have somebody right there that grew up in like a really strict household that I used to counsel whenever she was in middle school and high school, and her brother was a best friend of mine. It's just crazy to see how all the facets of my life are coming back to the Kava community.
I don't
And
know if
even
you know.
people-
I don't know if you know Kyle from Noble Kava.
I love Kyle. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing an episode with Kyle.
Perfect.
Kyle
So
served me my first shell ever of Kava.
this guy is amazing. He's helped us a lot. Anyways, something
love
about
this.
Kyle is that he's making it accessible for at-home use, and
I love it. The brew
teaching
kits.
you the brew kits, teaching you how to do it. I've already sent 3 of them out to family members and friends that live across the country because
It's
I'm like,
incredible.
hey, we stopped drinking 3 months ago. We feel this much better, and I've never felt like I could stand on any ground and say, hey, you should
Oh,
stop
yeah.
drinking. Even though my wife and I didn't drink that often, but I
Yeah.
couldn't stand on ground and then go out and have wine that night. So now I can like send them that and say, here's an alternative. You can drink it at home and it's free. Like you can buy this for like $20, a whole bag of it. It'll last you a week.
Well, so now one thing is like, I don't really drink like alcohol much. Like it's very very rare. Like if my family, so my stepdad, he owns a really huge bar company around the country. So like obviously out of respect, if he offers me a drink, I'll be like sure. But I never struggled with alcohol addiction or anything like that. But I just do not like the taste of alcohol. I mean, a lot of people are gonna come at me and be like, well, Kava doesn't taste that great either. Yeah, I get it, and I
I feel like people grow out of phases like that as well.
Everybody has an alcohol phase for the most part, and the people that really do struggle and do need that gateway to get out of it are the ones that usually don't get that
Yeah.
help. And I hate to see it because I mean, I've seen friends of mine that I've been friends with them since we were 3 years old that even at the same age, we're both 25, struggling severely with alcohol, and at 25 with like severe liver damage that most
Yeah.
people would have at like 50, 60 years old. And it's crazy because especially in like movies and stuff, like movies are great and all, but like it promotes such heavy alcohol. All athletic events like the Super Bowl, the college bowls, all these different sports are all about alcohol. And like, I can't wait for the day where you're gonna see Kava brand here on a big
Yeah.
billboard. Like, right now, that is one of the things that I am striving to do. Is I'm going around to a lot of colleges, especially right now with the college Eastern Florida. They are a completely dry campus. Even in the dorms, the kids that live on campus, whether they're 21 or not, are not allowed to have alcohol. One thing I'm trying to do is get Kava on campus because
That would be
I used to
amazing.
work for Eastern Florida and I have all their bylaw books, all their rule books from whenever I used to work there. Kratom and Kava is allowed on campus, and imagine being able to get that into the hands of kids, or I guess not kids, but like college age young adults,
Yeah.
and get them before they get that alcohol, because that's all it is it's all these kids,
Yeah.
they're just turning 21 now. They're
Yep.
allowed to start drinking, and it's
Yeah.
just the fact that now I can do it. But honestly, as sad as it sounds, a lot of kids that have that access to smoking and drinking at young ages, which it's really sucks to see, the very minuscule positive thing of it is they get it out of their system at that young age.
Yeah.
And luckily, I mean, I never had that interest as a kid. Like, I literally did not have my first sip of alcohol intentionally until I was 21.
Yeah, I
Like,
felt like I
even having the
personally
frat house, I
got
never
out of
drank
my
alcohol.
system in high school, but my sister was strongly against it all these years. She's like, hadn't drank alcohol or even tasted it. But now that she's at college, she's completely changed her mindset because you see other children drinking it, or not children, but other young adults drinking it, and then you kind of follow in their footsteps. And it would be great to have an alternative, like something like ice cream, which is very appealing to everyone, honestly. And yeah, I just start to love to see like college campuses, or just like it being in the publics, or like places that people can try.
I think that social anxiety is a big thing in college. I mean, both of you, have probably dealt with this before, where you're in like a big crowd, a new group of people, And
Thanks, Bubba.
if you have like a drink or two, it kind of like warms you up to that group. But now, like, I feel like kava works better than alcohol does for me.
I mean, I do have a lot of college students, so like probably by the end of whenever I actually started to work for the college I went to, is whenever I started to notice, some people bringing in like either canteens of kratom, like hot kratom, or just like hydro flasks with.
And I think it's honestly great to even get your mind to hone in on something like
it helps you
studying.
focus.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because I know one product that we've had on here before, and I know only as much as I did on my research for it, but those Odyssey teas, where it's like the mushroom
Those
teas or
are
whatnot,
amazing.
they're really great for attention for college students, especially with like kava. It helps you kind of mellow out. But the cool thing I like about kava is it isn't like a green kratom mellow. It's a hyper focus mellow.
Yeah.
Like it allows you to sit there and be able to be relaxed and not
Yeah.
stress about whatever you're
Honestly,
working
it
on.
would be perfect for them, and it would be much better than alcohol.
Oh yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming up here. I mean, honestly, I'm glad that this all went the way it is. I feel like everything, we asked you a bunch of questions that we didn't even have written down, but it's spontaneous, and you gave us pretty much off the top of your head true, honest answers. I mean, it's hard to make up an answer like that. So I really appreciate you, opening up to us about, especially your part in the business. And we're going to get some kava ice cream out to some people out here while we're doing our last segment. And I really appreciate you coming up here, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And Root A1A, at Root A1A is our Instagram, Facebook. Root1A.com is our website.
And I'm rooted. I'm rooted for Root.
Yes. And you can find us all over town. We actually have on our social media all the places that you can find us.
That's awesome.
And if you're a bar out there, you're somebody who, we're in smoke shops. We're in Mr. Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in smoke shops. We're in restaurants.
It doesn't matter what kind of business you have.
We were going to
seriously.
be in a butcher shop, but apparently they don't allow kava in Cocoa Village.
'Cause somebody was mentioning that to me. They're like, why isn't there one in there? That would be perfect place for it.
Yeah, they don't allow it.
Tell me about St. Pete, how they're starting to. So we went to St. Pete for a show not too long ago, and we were passing by all the bars down there, and then we just so happened to come across an actual bar that was also a kava bar and kratom bar. So that would be awesome to have here. So I don't understand why like Cocoa Village would be like no kava here.
All it is, baby steps. Here's the thing is once they see businesses that are big like the Kinds and Surfinista, I mean, those are really big names. I mean, to get a spot where Surfinista is, right there next to the original Bizarros, right there on the beach, that's a lot. Satellite Beach to Kinds has just built a really big name for themselves. I mean, their social media platform they're really great at social media, really good at advertising.
I want to clear that up. We're at Cafe Surfnista, which is the one that's in Cocoa Beach. It's the original one.
The original one, okay.
The one that Kelly Slater just went to and signed autographs.
What?
Yeah. So
That's
the owner
crazy.
of that knows Kelly Slater and is a huge iconic surfer in the area. So to get him to like budge on putting kava ice cream in that place was a big thing for us.
We actually, so me and my band, we actually did a performance for Kelly Slater.
No way.
He's super cool guy. I don't even know if he remembers me, but super cool guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you love to have local celebrities. I mean, especially that give back. He's so generous, and he does not act like a celebrity whatsoever.
Yeah.
Dude is so down to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of people that are coming out of here. I mean, Doug Flutie was out of here, right?
Yeah.
Doug Flutie was out of here. We have a new surfer, young surfer girl. She's trying to remember what her name is.
Marks.
Yes, yeah. But
Caroline
Marks, and she's
Badass.
really young still. I mean, she's what, like 16 now or something? Because she was 13 when she went to do.
She's like 21 now.
Or 21 now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I see, if you come over the bridge, like 520, you can see the sign where it would used to be just Kelly Slater.
Yep.
And now you have her. And I mean, what? Yeah,
There's
Daniel
a couple
Tosh
other
came out.
Groms that are coming up in like that have billboards in Orlando and stuff.
I love
like
it.
it's insane. Like
Yeah,
I
hey,
know. I'm gonna
listen,
have a billboard.
I'm
one day
gonna
as
find
a
some way to get you guys a
50-year-old.
billboard because like, okay, so really quick, like minute question here.
Yeah.
Have you guys reached out to Publix?
So let me talk about that really quick.
Yeah, please.
So to get into grocery stores, you have to buy a section basically, and
Okay.
then to get to the top, you would need to pay a lot of money to get in there. So we one day want to be in something like that.
You should
but-
try Sprouts when they open up.
So Sprouts already has Kava in it, so that would be
Really?
our next
I
step.
cannot wait.
Yeah,
Because
so
we're getting that new one right there on Wickham.
Sprouts has like a Kava, like a Mitra or something like that, but it's Kava.
It might be they have something's called something water.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what they got in there, but
Psychedelic water, I think.
somebody's already paved that path for us, so we definitely want to get in there one day.
That's why
But-
we like to bring on people, because here's the thing is, who knows, maybe a business that we have on in the future, you guys connect just for the fact that you guys both were on the podcast. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had a couple connections, like the comedy guys that we had out here. We had the guy from Boston, the guy from Orlando.
Huh.
They're both now doing Don't Tell comedy throughout the Kava
That's
community.
awesome.
So it's really awesome.
Yeah, we're stoked to any connections that anybody can give us, like reach out to us.
Reach out on their
like-
Instagram. We plugged their Instagram a couple times. Seriously, guys, like you do not want to. You don't want to miss out on this, because you can be one of the people who's like, oh, I had it before it took off.
Yes, and that's what everybody's been telling us is like we're just happy to have it right now because we know eventually it's going to be huge, and we're going to be the ones that started this.
Starting out story. So we really appreciate you
I mean, I've
taking
had-
your time to come out onto
Yeah,
this
for real.
podcast and sharing all this great information with
You
us
have
and
a-
your product.
You have a great, tasty product. I mean, I've had 10 bites of a couple different flavors, and I'm rooted right now. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm
love it. I
feeling
love it so much.
I'm
And
feeling it too.
especially with the mint. Like the mint right now is by far my favorite. It doesn't taste like Kava at all. Like the other ones had faint hint, not even a hint in this one.